Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. And welcome to your 420th episode of Mox Talks. And thank you so much for tuning in. I promised that if you tune in early, that we'll do a bong hit. So I'm planning on doing a bong hit in the first 10 minutes or so. So keep your eyes open for that. It's coming. And I want to have a discussion on Bush and Obama murdering a million innocent Iraqis, displacing at least 4 million, 5 million more. At least. Probably a lot closer to 10 million. If not more than that. And the thing is, we want to act somehow like, oh, Vladimir Putin's so evil. You know, they're saying like 5,000 Ukrainians died or something. I don't think even that many. So, oh yeah, Putin's so evil. Of course he is. Of course he is. That doesn't mean that we don't have evil in our own government. And that's all I have to say about that. So, I think we should get ready for bong hit. I have a couple interesting videos. This evening, Kennedy was talking about a new world order, which is fascinating news to talk about. And I'm so surprised that more news outlets weren't actually talking about, Biden actually saying the words new world order. And I have a video about new gun laws passed in Washington, which are clearly designed to make law-abiding citizens less safe. And hopefully we'll be able to have a little bit of a discussion about that, because I'm very big proponent for the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is, they make these laws about gun control, and those laws do not apply to a single criminal. Not one. So every time they make one of these laws about gun control, which there should be some, no doubt about it, every time they make these laws, they're imposing them onto law-abiding citizens who are following the Constitution of the United States. This is the problem with these lawmakers, with these law enforcers. They act like, oh, no, this has to be done. I don't have any responsibility over it. We better do it. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike. How are you doing tonight?
Good.
Good. I just wanted to add one little note there when you were talking about war criminals.
Uh-huh.
George Bush being a war criminal.
Mm-hmm.
And that, of course, is that Madeleine Albright died today.
Yeah.
84 years old. 84 years old, right?
Yeah.
And it just kind of rings that song like Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead, that song from The Wizard of Oz, kind of resonating in my head. Because Madeleine Albright is famous. She's Bill Clinton's Secretary of State, right? And in the late 1990s, like 1999, she was asked a question on ABC or CNN. She was asked the question, 500,000 Iraqi children died because of U.S. sanctions in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, right?
Yeah.
And she kind of smiled, and then she said, well, I think it was completely worth it, and then gave her reason why it was worth it to kill 500,000 children, right, with economic sanctions.
And this is before the Iraq War. It wasn't like during the Iraq War or after the Iraq War. This happened before the Iraq War, in which the United States is directly responsible for at least the death of 500,000 Iraqi children.
So today on the radio, or I don't know where I heard it, it might have been on the internet, I don't know if it was on the phone or on the radio, but wherever I heard it from, they were lauding the fact that Madeleine Albright, 84 years old, who's now dead, was the first woman Secretary of State in the United States. And that's what was amazing about her, is they were dropping over themselves, Reuters, PBS, they were tripping over themselves to point out that Madeleine Albright is a great person because she was the first woman who was Secretary of State. Not that she was a person who was responsible for killing over 500,000 children, and then when directly asked about it, said, well, it was fucking worth it, actually. I mean, that is a disgusting piece of fucking work.
That's
really
our government. That's our government before George Bush. Imagine after
right.
George Bush.
So it's a bipartisan program, right?
Yeah.
Madeleine Albright represented a Democrat, Bill Clinton, and George Bush represented the Republican Party when he was president. But however you look at it, right? Barack Obama was president when they fucking raped Gaddafi in the streets.
Right.
Hillary Clinton cackled that we came, we saw, he died, made a crazy allusion to Caesar, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't even funny. It's like it wasn't a joke about. It was a joke about like we are Caesar. Don't you get it? It wasn't a joke about like what has America become, this imperial monster that does as it pleases. No, she was saying, fuck it. We came, we saw, he died. What, you get it? It's like that's how it works. That she was very straightforward about it, you know.
We kill people.
We kill people when we don't like to get governments that we appreciate. We don't like any governments that like work against us or against the global empire. And if Iraq wants to sell their oil in euros, that's not going to work. You know, if Libya wants to transform Africa and have a gold standard and use the Libyan currency as a currency for all of Africa, that is not going to work. If Iran wants to trade its oil with China and with Russia and with other countries directly without using the US dollar, that is not going to work. If the government of Syria wants its own central bank that doesn't have a goddamn thing to do with European central banks, that is not going to work. If the government of North Korea wants to do what it wants, how it wants to plan its economy outside of like government international control, that isn't going to work either. You either listen to what we fucking say, or we will starve your children to death and laugh about it. That's Madeleine Albright.
That's the U.S. government.
It is the U.S. government. But that was one person who worked for the U.S. government who like really summed it up in a nutshell. It was worth it.
Yeah, these people are vampires. They feed on the flesh, the blood of young people. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. You know, if they make their money off of the death of children, which they do, lots and lots and lots of money, then they're basically eating the bodies of children. Because they make money, they eat they eat food that they buy with that money, which means they're basically eating dead children. For all of you fucking war profiteers, so we're clear.
It's true, Mike. But just to put it in perspective, you're right. But also, they're eating they're eating their own young as well. So like people in
fuck their own young. Fuck their own young. They're just gonna turn out like the same scumbags as their parents. So fuck them.
No, I meant they're fucking over America's children in general.
Yeah. Okay, we said their own.
American children, like from small towns across America.
Yeah.
And they think to themselves, the only way I'm going to get ahead, because I don't have a fucking chance in hell in this goddamn world, is if I join the fucking military. So if I join the Army, at least I get job training, and I might fucking get benefits. And I need that. It's good for me. So people join up for these fucked up war machine killing, murdering institutions, right, to get job training. And then they get spit out after they do their 2 or 4 years, and they're just fucking like the rest of America, just like down there fighting for a job, trying to survive, fucked over like everybody else. But they also get PTSD. They also get to know a lot of their fellow soldiers like are fucked up, medically fucked up, and on and on. So in fact, like people like Madeleine Albright, they don't just kill Iraqi children. They also ensure that American children are going to be disadvantaged in the future by pushing them into this war machine.
Yeah. I don't argue with that for 1 second. They're evil. They're the face of evil. That's the problem with this government. That's the reason I make this title, is because, you know, it's not so much that, you know, that the world, we got to worry about the world. We have to worry about ourselves and our country and our government. And we see a government like this doing this to children around the world, ruining our own children's future, refusing the people of these United States to have an economic boom. They're keeping it from us. I've told you again and again, all they have to do is stop selling oil overseas. We're the biggest exporter of oil in the world. Stop selling it overseas, and we'll have gasoline for 99 cents a gallon. If you don't think that's going to create an economic boom, you don't understand, you know, economics. And we should have an infrastructure project, because that's going to create millions and millions and millions of jobs. And we should legalize all drugs, because that's also going to create lots of jobs. It's going to create lots of compassion, and it's going to create lots of freedom. Go along with high-paying jobs. And, you know, this other stuff I'm talking about is so easy. Why don't we have leaders like this? You tell me.
Well, I don't know why. First of all, I don't think we have leaders like that, Mike, because the American people don't demand leaders like that. That for the most part, they've accepted the political parties. Now, you could say that's not true.
No, and what it is
they're just brainwashed.
You're
right?
close.
They're brainwashed, or they're...
You're close. It's not that they... it's not that. It's that these people are bought and paid for, and the problem isn't that the voters are brainwashed, or they're, you know, this excuse, or that they're fucking just, you know, not paying attention. The problem is that we don't send these fuckers that are criminals to jail. Because you can just replace them with other fuckers, and then they're going to become criminals also. So we have to send these criminals to jail. Then the ones who come behind them will have to be different. So that's the reason that we don't get anything different from this government.
We both know, Mike, our system is not designed to work that way, right? Like, wealthy people always have the opportunity to buy their way out of any kind of, like, punitive measures. They never have to pay for whatever they've done, ever.
Yeah.
They use lawyers and fines, and they never go to jail. So that's why white-collar criminals, like Occupy Wall Street criminals, and criminals from, like, the crash of the economy in 2008, and, you know, the criminals like the COVID pharmaceutical profiteers and all those assholes who made money in the last 2 years, none of those people are going to be held accountable and have to pay fines, because this is America. That's what this is about, is ripping people off and getting away with it. That's like part of our ethos.
Well, none of them are going to have to pay any kind of pay to heed, you know, is because again, we have these criminals, you know, in the Congress. You know, it's not. It's just that these people, the only way we get those people that you were just talking about to prison, for them to pay a price, is if we get rid of these fucking other people that are clearly criminals. Otherwise, those people you're talking about, military-industrial complex profiteers, they're going to go scot-free for fucking decades, for generations to come. And if you think that's good with you, you're a fucked up individual or a war profiteer, one or the other. And they're fucking the same thing, but so you know.
But Madeleine Albright, like I mentioned, she made that comment, I don't care that 500,000 children died in Iraq because of sanctions, because it was promoting American foreign policy, and that I'm okay with that, right?
Yeah.
That she was allowed to speak at American colleges. She was allowed to speak on the lecture tour. She was on television giving people advice about foreign policy for 20 years, right?
To woke individuals also, so we're clear.
Well, all right. Well, woke individuals, I guess you mean Democrats, right?
No, I mean people who think that they're so much smarter than the rest of us, that the rest of us don't get it. And meanwhile, because Madeleine Albright is a woman, she's a fucking pioneer who should be held up to all of our children as an example of great humanity and what can be done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
even women can be war criminals.
Right,
That's
exactly. That's
right.
yeah.
That's the bottom line. Is Margaret Thatcher was a fucking war criminal. Madeleine Albright was a fucking war criminal.
Nancy Pelosi is a fucking war criminal. So we're clear.
Hillary Clinton
Yeah.
is a war criminal. Condoleezza Rice is a war criminal.
Right.
All right. So let's be real. Like, just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you're not a fucking criminal or a corporate fucking thief. You know. I mean, this is an essential thing. And I have been listening to some of the Supreme Court footage, you know, in the last day. I mean, I listened to it today. And I did hear something from a Democrat senator, Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island, who was making, and I didn't hear the whole statement, but he was talking about how why are our Supreme Court justices determined by independent, non-judiciary committees like the Federalist Society that put their stamp of approval on all of these judges, and why is it that these private kind of legal institutions, quasi-legal institutions, are making decisions about if they put their stamp of approval on a judge, that means that it's okay. And I mean, maybe think it for a second. It's like, yeah, it's a good point. Why is that the case? Why is it that, like, these super conservative judges who have an alliance with each other get to make a decision about who's going to be on the Supreme Court, you know, that has all of this weight? And why is it taken so seriously by the U.S. Congress? And I'm not even a fan of the Supreme Court nominee, by the way. And I think she also is getting a pass.
Yeah, it looks like it to me. It looks like it to me.
Yeah. And this bothers me, you know, as a person interested in political science and stuff, Mike. I kind of wish that they would take the smartest people in America and put on the court. Like, I really believe that is a good thing, right?
And put them in Congress and the White House. Fuck.
Yeah, but like on the Supreme Court especially, when we're talking about law.
Yeah.
So like, I really want like the 5 or 10 like the top law students, not because they're rich, it's because they're fucking smart. To like be able to make.
So you tell me something. What is the first thing that we do?
Well, Mike, the first thing that we do is that, well, I don't know. I would.
The first thing that we do is we kill all the lawyers. Have you not heard that before?
Yeah, I have.
So yeah, let's get more lawyers up there. I don't think so, dude. We need
I don't think
people.
they're all evil.
You don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to be a lawyer to be a Supreme Court justice.
Well, actually, I think you do have
No,
to be a lawyer
you don't.
to be a Supreme Court justice.
No, you do not.
All right. Well, I would imagine that a person who interprets the law would at least have studied it for a little bit, you know, and that's the reason why those are the people who are on the court, right? It's like they've spent their life studying like legal law with jurisprudence.
Right.
That's the reason why they're on the court.
Right. And
I would rather have people based on their intelligence and demonstrating in court and demonstrating as with their wits that they're smart enough to be on that court instead of being picked for that court because of their gender or their religious affiliation or some fucking political point that they're going to win on the right or the left, right? And that never happens. All of these appointees are political appointees, whether they're from the right or the left. For example, Clarence Thomas, appointed by Ronald Reagan, I think he's only written like one independent, opinion since he's been a judge for the last like 45 years or something, 35 years. In other words, he never writes his own opinion. He only like agrees with what the consensus says and then writes a couple paragraphs about why he agrees or disagrees. But he doesn't write his own conclusions, right? Some Supreme Court justices, Mike, whether they're on the winning side or the losing side, always write a separate opinion because that's just what they're doing. They're analyzing the situation and they're giving their answer, right? It isn't like groupthink or anything. But that is becoming more rare as time goes on because these are just political appointees. Are you opposed to abortion? Do you support religious rights? But guess what? All of these people support corporate rights. Like this lady who's going to be on the Supreme Court supports corporate rights. The appointees from Obama support corporate rights. The appointees from Trump support corporate rights. So like anyone who's appointed by a Democrat or Republican to the Supreme Court is inherently against workers and is against poor people. That's what I've noticed, right?
It seems like they're very much against workers and poor people. You know, just the working class in general. You know, if you don't have
Yeah.
money, then you don't really have any rights. Hey, are you back in Washington?
No, I'm going to be back before the 2nd of April. I gave myself a time frame, so I got another week. I'm going to be finished with my work, I think, on Monday, and then I'm going to take 4 days to kind of take my time traveling from Sacramento north,
Yeah.
and I'll go through, you know, whatever, Mendocino, Humboldt County, and I'll hang out in Redwoods National Park for a day, and then maybe go to Crater Lake, and then make my way up into Washington. I'll take about 4 days to do it.
So you're in Sacramento now?
No, I'm still in near Pismo Beach.
Oh, well, you should think about maybe going to Tahoe. Did you go to Tahoe?
No, I didn't go to Tahoe. My little brother wanted me to go there.
Tahoe is
I'm
Tahoe is just as beautiful as all the other places that I recommend, at least the way I remembered it.
Yeah, I think I got an idea of it. It's in the forest and in the mountains, and it's a beautiful lake, you know, and I'm sure there's beautiful vistas around it as well.
Yeah.
That was one place I wanted to see that I'm not going to see. And
Yeah.
Another place I wanted to see was Joshua National Forest.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that, you know, down south of Bakersfield. And, you know, Death Valley, that would have been interesting to see. Although I've seen the desert in Nevada before, so all over Nevada. So, you know, the salt, all of that. I just haven't been at Death Valley, which is the hottest place in North America, right? But anyway, I'm happy. I'm not pissed off at all about my situation.
Well, Seattle felt like the hottest place in the country last summer. I'll tell you
It
that.
did last summer, didn't it?
Yeah.
It did. It was. It was pretty crazy. 113 or 15 degrees. You know, that's pretty nuts. So I got some photographs from friends from Olympia today of what the sky looked like, and you know I'm looking forward to going back to Washington State in the springtime, and this was really important for me on a lot of different levels. So I'm not bummed out at all. But I will be happy when I'm finished with my work on Monday or Tuesday, and then I'll just have like 4 days where I can just wander slowly.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
I like to wander. Yeah, I like to wander on roads that are off of like major highways.
Yeah.
So I always try to find secondary routes that go through little towns to give me an idea of like what the countryside is like. And that is what I've been doing.
It's a really good way to go. You go through Shasta?
Yeah, that's the I-5 way. I go by Fat Shasta, but
Yeah.
I'll probably go left of the Shasta. So I might go up Highway 1 instead of Highway 101.
Yeah, there's a lot of little roads like that around that area. So
Yeah. And then I'll get to see stuff like in Humboldt County, maybe if I go off of the Highway 1 and go into the mountains.
yeah.
You know, and I'd like to see some of that because I have a lot of friends that told me about how beautiful it is there.
There's a lot of beautiful coast on Oregon too. So I got to take a bong hit, Chris. So I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you too. And I just want to remind you, with the title of your program tonight, that Madeleine Albright and Bill Clinton literally killed 500,000 children. They admitted it. They didn't feel bad about it. And this kind of shit has been going on for a long fucking time in the United States. So, yeah, George Bush deserves to fucking be a war criminal and go to prison. And so do a bunch of other people, including Bill Clinton and Barack Obama.
Yeah, and Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell, and a lot of them, dude. I'm telling you, if we don't clean house and make examples of them, we will never get anything better. It's going to be exactly like this for your children, your grandchildren, your grandchildren's grandchildren.
Well, ding dong, one of the witches is dead as you take your bong hit. She's gone. And have a good night, Mike. I'll talk to you another day.
All right, good to hear from you. Okay, so I have a video about Netanyahu's trial in Israel, and had a brownie right before it came on, and I'm going to play that video for you, and I'll be right back, and we'll do a nice fat puff, okay? So thanks so much for tuning in. Here's a little something about Netanyahu's trial, and I'll be right back.
The corruption trial of Benjamin Netanyahu entered a new stage in the Jerusalem District Court on Wednesday, with another former confidant of the former Prime Minister taking the stand, former Communications Ministry Director General Shlomo Filber. And our diplomatic correspondent Eli Hochenberg breaks down the details.
Admiration, frustration, and accusation. The former top aide to Benjamin Netanyahu turned state witness took the stand for the first time Wednesday against the former Israeli prime minister in his high-profile corruption trial. For long hours, Shlomo Filber, the director of the communications ministry under Netanyahu, have his take on the chain of events in the cases Netanyahu is charged with, suggesting the former premier sought quid pro quo deals for better media coverage, saying the former prime minister indeed wanted him to, quote, mitigate competition for Israel's Bezeq telecom company, a move worth hundreds of millions of dollars. In return, Bezeq's popular news site, Walla, owned by Bezeq's owner, allegedly provided favorable coverage of Netanyahu and his family. Like the second aide-turned-state witness Nir Hefetz, Filber described the former Israeli premier as being image-obsessed.
Netanyahu is hands-off, lets you do your work. He doesn't get involved in the micro, except when it has to do with things that really matter to him, like media. In those cases, I could get 5 to 6 calls a day.
Netanyahu is facing 3 criminal cases. The third, known as Case 4000, is considered the most severe, as it includes bribery alongside fraud and breach of trust, and is highly dependent on the testimony from Filber, dubbed as the witness without whom Case 4000 might not exist. In an emotional testimony, Filber, with Netanyahu present in court and listening to every word, said the ex-premier was an object of admiration for him from a young age, adding he believes Netanyahu is one of the greatest leaders the Jewish people and the state of Israel have had. At some point, Filber even shed some tears, saying he had ruined years of his life just because he wanted to do good to the state of Israel, blaming police for seeking everything but the truth.
The investigators stuck their teeth like Rottweilers on the Bezeq issue and did not want to hear anything else. They just wanted to incriminate. I just wanted to explain, and they didn't let me.
Netanyahu, now opposition leader, denies any wrongdoing and says the charges amount to a witch hunt, but the case continues to cast a deep shadow over the family and legacy of Israel's longest-serving prime minister.
Are you ready? Let's see. Speaking of war criminals, it's good to see one of them on trial. It'd just be really nice if the trial was happening in The Hague, for crimes against humanity and war crimes. Because there is no doubt that that's who that motherfucker is. So, and he'll never see jail time. He'll never, he'll never get anything but a slap on the wrist, even though during his presidency he was completely corrupt, which is one thing to be, out. Ooh, that was so good. Oh my gosh. Sorry we had to wait so long for that one, boys and girls. It was only because I ate a big fat brownie. No, it was because Chris had a few things to share with us. Otherwise, I would have been all over that bong hit, boys and girls, in case you're wondering. Alright, so I want to get that up so that we can look at some of these cameras again. This is a That's not live. Is that live? I don't. Yeah, it says no. That's not live. Let's see. Let's find a live one here. That's not live. Come on. Come on. We'll find something. Give me a minute. What does that say? Oh, it doesn't say live either. Skip ahead to live broadcast. Ah, that's live. There we go. Okay, so what do we got here? Let's see. This says skip ahead to live broadcast. There we go. That's live. Now let's see. That one does not say that at all. Let's see what we got here. Whoa, something going on with that page. Come on, baby. Give it to me, baby. Let's see what we got. There we go. Okay, so we got cameras up. We're ready to go. I was running a little late tonight because when I tried to move videos over to, that one's not live. Where'd it go? Right there. No? Alright, that one's not gonna fly. That one's not gonna fly, right? No. Alright. Happened to live. There we go. Live. And, of course, the Russia Today is still censored off the YouTube, in case anybody's wondering, because they're evil. The YouTube is evil, okay? And that's what they're doing, is they're censoring the most watched news channel on YouTube. They're censoring it because you are not responsible enough to make up your own mind where you would like to get news from. So the government and the leaders, the heads of YouTube have decided that for you, because you can't be trusted as an adult, I'm sorry, the children that you are, to be able to make up your own minds about what news service you would like to watch. So we must ban the most watched news service on YouTube, but it's your fault, because we can't trust you to be responsible about what you watch. And that's the government that we have. That's the freedom of speech that we have in this country. That's the freedom of speech that it seems to be okay with everyone. I mean, not the people here. The people here are definitely looking for something more than a government that dominates them, than the mainstream media fucking bullshit line of, oh, the government can do no wrong. Oh, we have to trust the government on everything. Oh, if you question the government, you're might be a terrorist. Oh, if you question the government, oh, you're giving out misinformation. We can't have you giving out misinformation. Our government's the best government in the world. What the fuck are you talking about? But I do go on. I am talking about the fact that George W. Bush murdered 1 million innocent Iraqis based on lies completely fabricated in the White House. Okay? Based on lies, George W. Bush murdered 1 million innocent Iraqis. Probably way more than that. He did it in your name. He did it with your tax dollars. And Obama helped. He did it all based on lies. In your name, with your tax dollars. And everybody's so worried about fucking Putin. Do you really care about Putin when these people, they researched the good name of the United States. They are making our government evil, if it's not completely evil already. And I'm not talking about evil where they just hold the people of this great country down, because they are. And if you think anything other than that, again, remember, when we're talking about Republicans and Democrats, they're just talking to different suckers. They're not saying, hey, we have to shut down all oil exports and give the people $1.99 a gallon gasoline, which, by the way, would still be a ripoff, considering in Russia they're paying 46 cents a gallon. So if that's what they're paying for gasoline in Russia, then why is it that that us, being the largest exporter of oil in the world, have to pay so much more? You know, $2 a gallon seems excessive to me. $6 a gallon is being gouged by people that are already way too rich, and obviously don't give a fuck about their customers. Oh, did I mention Dick Cheney, by the way? George W. Bush being an oil man, by the way. Dick Cheney, again, these people have to go to prison. We're never going to get a better country unless we send these people to prison. I know you understand what it is that I'm saying. I know you do. And it's the way it is, man. If you don't believe it, then I don't know how to open your eyes. You know, again and again and again, we're shown the truth on this show. You know, that we need to take care of our own business. Okay, this shit where we have to take care of everybody around the world. I can't. You know, if we were actually taking care of people, right? If we were actually making things better around the world, if we were actually doing that, I don't think I would be arguing. I don't think I would have a problem with that, even if our country was in the same shape that it is now. As long as we were making a difference around the world, I think a little bit of sacrifice, as people keep saying about Ukraine, oh, we'd be willing to sacrifice a little more in order to help the Ukrainian people. Fuck you. Because it's going to help so much to send fucking tanks and weapons of mass destruction into the Ukraine. That's going to help them so much, right? Are you that brainwashed? Okay, again, there's no reason. We're not doing good around the world. We're not spreading good things. We're spreading evil. If we were spreading good, if we were making the world a better place, if we were really making it so that there was less hungry children in the world, in fact, a pledge to stamp out hunger in the world. I mean, the United States, we make fucking wars everywhere that cost a fucking fortune. But we can't end world hunger, which we could easily. It's so easy. It's just beyond belief that humans act like this is an issue that can't be solved. It is beyond belief. But we can go to Mars, but we can't figure out how to feed everybody, especially once we get there. Of course you can't figure it out there. If you can't figure it out here, you're never going to figure it out there. Okay? So stop being so fucking stupid, spending hundreds of billions of dollars trying to figure out how to get to Mars and figure out how to feed people. I mean, how far would hundreds of billions of dollars go in feeding people? I'm pretty sure we could end world hunger, Elon, and all the rest of you fucking cunts. Not you fucking cunts. The rich billionaire cunts. But I do go on. Again, the priority, we can't, if we were spreading good everywhere, if we were ending world hunger, if we had these priorities that genuinely made the world a better place, that genuinely helped people, you know, I think that the good people of this country really would be willing to sacrifice, in order to make the world a better place for everyone. You know, unfortunately, right now, the good people of this country are sacrificing horribly to horrible, evil people that have taken over this government, this once wonderful government. and changed it into a pit of evil from which nothing comes that's good. There's nothing that comes that's good from our government. Nothing. Okay? They're keeping the American people from having an economic boom. They do not want you doing well. They don't want you They don't want you having the most basic fucking rights. You know? Every day they chip away at rights. I just want a government that does good. You know, good for the people of this country and good for the people around the world. Starting with the people of this country, hopefully. But like I said, the people in this country are good people, and I'm certain that they genuinely would be willing to sacrifice if they could see their country genuinely making a difference around the world. It is impossible to view our government like that. And these people who say that Americans are willing to sacrifice to help the people of Ukraine, I really don't know which Americans it is who feel that the people of this great country aren't sacrificing enough already, because it's pretty obvious that the people of this great country have done more than their share of suffering, you know, of being able to sacrifice. And it was all for evil. It's going on right now. Right now, you're sacrificing your children's future, your grandchildren's future. I know you've heard it a million times. I absolutely do. The thing is I'm telling you, the American people have sacrificed enough already. More than enough. More than our share. And the real problem with that is that we've only sacrificed ourselves, our children's future, to an evil government, or evil occupiers of what has the potentiality of being a truly great government, actually really making a difference in the world because of our freedom, because we can genuinely spread freedom. I don't give a fuck, democracy, republic, I don't give a fuck these stupid labels, but I do care about freedom. And I don't think that's a label. I think it's something that belongs to every single human on the planet. Every single one. And, you know, if you choose with your freedom to do evil, know that, you know, good people will probably catch up with you. Especially if we had a world where, you know, governments were good. If we had a world, can you imagine? God, I'm just such a fucking dreamer. Can you possibly, for 1 second, imagine governments around the world being good, being filled with good people, doing the right thing, helping all individuals, lifting the weakest amongst us, the poorest amongst us, up to have a better tomorrow. What planet does this guy live on? Oh my God. That was fun. So, when you wonder why so many people don't seem to be trying to make a difference, it's because, you know, it's not easy banging your heart against some mad bugger's wall. After all, it's not easy. I'm going to play a video. If anyone would like to call when I get back from heating up my tea, there is a telephone number up there on the screen. It is 805-669-6397, 805-MOX News. I can't thank you enough for tuning in to my little show, because without you it would be meaningless. So you know. What video clip should we play now? Let's see. Was I saying something about... I think what we should do... Oh, we did the Netanyahu too. Okay, so we have new gun laws in Washington State, which I want you to see that video. It's going to give me just barely enough time to heat up my tea. And I wanted to have a discussion about it, so pay attention. Because we can have an awesome discussion about these things if you'd like to participate. I think, I don't know, I'm trying. Okay, so there's new gun laws in Washington State about ghost guns and about magazine capacity. Now, again, I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment. I think when the founders were creating the Constitution, that they looked at it this way, and they said, you know, you have the right to live your lives first, freedom of speech. You have the right, and what I hear when I hear, you know, absolute freedom of speech is that you have the right to live your life the way you see fit. Right? This is the way I see the founder of the Constitution. You have the right to live your life the way you see fit, and second, no one is ever going to take that right from you. Meaning, you have the right to protect yourself. And if someone comes to take away your rights, you have the ability to defend them. Now, if you choose not to, that's your choice. But we did make it available to you because we see these truths to be self-evident, right? But I do go on. I am going to play a video now about new gun laws, and the point I wanted to make was that when they make these gun laws, you know, about magazine capacity, right? When they make these gun laws about magazine capacity, the criminals don't give a fuck about your gun laws. If they did, there'd be much, much, much less crime. So the criminals don't give a fuck about your gun laws. What they're doing here is they're making gun laws against law-abiding citizens, which actually makes, with the Second Amendment being there to make sure that your rights can never be taken away. As I was saying, first, you have the right to live your life the way you choose. Second, no one can ever take that right from you. And this is what's happening. They're making it so it's harder for you. Well, actually, that the criminals have an advantage over you, law-abiding citizen gun-carrying people, because they can have the extended magazines because they're already doing crime. Just having the gun is a crime for them. So an extended magazine, yeah, suck it. But you get caught with an extended magazine, I don't know. We have you by the balls right now. You know, we'll see what kind of person we think you are. First, we kill all the lawyers. What do we do first, boys and girls? What do we do first? I think what we do is we load the Supreme Court with a bunch of old school hippie weed growing motherfuckers, you know, the old school gangsters, the OGs who were fucking growing that really good fucking herb and kept it so that, you know, when there was this horrible prohibition on this plant on this medicine that's so important to mankind, these brave soldiers stepped up and kept the American people that were brave enough to join them free. And those are the kind of people that I think should be on the Supreme Court. Not this fucking, people who know the law. Fuck the law. The law has been garbage my entire life. I mean, yeah, they should know the drug laws. Fuck that shit. They should know that the drug laws are antiquated and they don't work. Oh, but the drug laws say this. Fuck the lawyers. Okay? First, we kill all the lawyers. Who said that? Who said first we call it? Who said that? Was it Shakespeare? Was that Shakespeare? I don't know. Pluto? I'm going to go warm up my tea and play this video about new gun laws for you. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's always better when you're here. Please never forget.
Well, new at noon, Washington is now the 10th state in the country to ban the sale of high-capacity gun magazines. It's one of 3 bills signed into law a couple of hours ago by Governor Jay Inslee. The governor says it's part of an effort to curb gun violence in the state, which he says takes the lives of over 780 Washingtonians every year. He said gun violence is a leading cause of death among young people in the state.
And I am proud of our state to be a state who is willing to take the lead, to stand up against the NRA, to stand up for common sense gun safety legislation.
So let's take a look at these new laws. House Bill 5078 bans the sale of high-capacity magazines. That's anything with more than 10 rounds. The law does not prohibit possession of those magazines, and it does not apply to law enforcement. House Bill 1630 restricts guns at city council hearings, school board meetings, and election offices. And House Bill 1705 tries to limit the spread of ghost guns, which are untraceable. It requires people who make those weapons to use components with serial numbers so that they are traceable.
3 new bills with the goal of cutting down on gun violence were just signed into law today by Governor Jay Inslee. KOMO's Denise Whitaker shows us what each of these bills changes in our state.
We're here today because we know the scourge of gun violence is upon our state.
One of the bills covers so-called ghost guns, homemade weapons often designed to be untraceable. This new law now requires hobbyists who make their own weapons to use components with serial numbers. Another one bans the sale of high-capacity magazines that hold 10 rounds of ammo. Violators could get nearly a year in jail and a $5,000 fine. State Attorney General Bob Ferguson says Washington will join 9 states that already restrict high-capacity magazines. He asked for this bill, dedicating a team to it after the mass shooting at a party in Mukilteo in 2016 that killed 3 and left Paul Kramer's son wounded.
And I remember saying to Paul, before clearing with my staff, by the way, that I was going to propose this bill every year until it passed. There is no doubt in my mind, and I know everybody here agrees with me, that it is people like Paul Kramer, ordinary, regular Washingtonians, who suddenly find themselves face to face, with the most terrible news you could receive as a parent.
And the third bill, signed today, restricts people from carrying firearms in certain locations, like into board meetings, city council meetings, and election offices. Those against these restrictions argued that some of those locations serve dual purposes, where people with a concealed pistol license were at one time allowed to carry in those rooms.
The most responsible people, which we know from the data, are CPL holders. And the way to get at gun violence is to punish the people who misuse them.
That was KOMO's Denise Whitaker reporting. These new laws fit together with recent voter-passed initiatives that extend background checks and safe storage requirements with the idea of keeping guns out of the wrong hands. Now, one group has announced it is suing over one of those new laws. Firearms Policy Coalition calls SB 5078, that's the ban on sales of high-capacity magazines, unconstitutional. The organization goes on to say it is taking aggressive action by filing a lawsuit.
I was trying to lure the Boo Bear upstairs with some peanut butter cookie crumbles. All right, so once again, the gun laws only apply to law-abiding citizens, and this is how pretty much all laws are. right? So I'm really tired of all of us being oppressed in the name of safety and security and all this other bullshit, because we're not getting that. You know, we're not getting safety, we're not getting security. Everything is, oh, be afraid, they're coming for you. They're coming to get you, Barbara. They're coming to get you. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Am I on air right now?
Yes, you're on the air right now.
All right. How's it going?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Not when gun rights are being taken away from people.
You know, every day is a beautiful day to me. Otherwise, you know, it's just a shitstorm these days. So.
Hey, you're still breathing. You got all your toes and fingers. I think we're looking up, right? That's how I look at it.
It's a beautiful day, man. I'm not going to look at it any other way, because I don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, you're in the state of Washington.
That's not unfortunate to
and
me.
I'm in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So.
The give me liberty or give me death state. Is that what it is? Liberty or death? What is it?
Yeah, live free or die.
Live
right?
free or die. That is so much better than what I said. Live free or die. That should be the motto of every state in the country.
I mean, it is, though. It is just like a basic moral principle, right?
Yeah.
Either you're free or you're enslaved, and why live if you're enslaved?
Right. If you're not free, what's the point?
Exactly. But, yeah, I guess I wanted to call in because it's a gun topic, and, yeah, this is a silly argument that they're trying to bring up for Washington, and the thing is like, they're never going to stop people from making their own guns.
Yeah, that's
Every
just
law that they
stupid.
pass, it is dumb.
Yeah.
It's really dumb. Look, man, the first thing they show is a plastic single-shot Liberator.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just...
It's a joke. You're not going to do a whole lot of damage with that.
It saved people in World War II.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying the plastic Liberated 3D printed gun, but the Liberator name comes from these, I think it was Colt 45s that they mass produced, they weren't even functioning guns.
Yeah.
They dropped them from planes so that the people could rise up and, raise arms even if they didn't work against, horrible people. And it actually was a turning point, and it was pretty effective. But the thing is that, to prevent people from open carrying in city council meetings and just public official sort of capacity meetings and that sort of thing, that's ridiculous. That's a monopoly. That's you can't restrict one right to gain another, and that's a constitutional right.
These people, the horrible part is that their job is to protect those rights, and what they do is they act like those rights either don't exist or couldn't matter less. And they take a vow to protect those rights. Again, these people have to be held accountable. Anyone that's looking at this point, any of them, like somehow they're the good ones, you are so brainwashed right now, and you should really step back and take a look and think about what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I just want to remind the audience that your rights don't come from government.
Yeah.
Your rights don't come from your ancestors. They don't come from the Constitution. They don't come from, I like the best way I like to put it is psychopaths in D.C. or in your legislative offices. Your rights don't come from them. Your rights come from your maker. Either you believe in God or you believe in nature, whatever which way you want to believe it. But your rights are inherited from nature, and you have the right to defend yourself.
Right.
If someone's trying to hurt you or abuse you, you have the right to defend that.
Yeah.
And supposedly, the system is set up to, allow you to defend yourself from that. But they've obviously, it's pretty clear that they've, hit every angle, or they're trying to hit every angle from us being able to defend ourselves from tyrants. And, that's just not right.
Yeah, I agree that the freedom of speech, you can't do anything against tyrants if you don't have the freedom of speech. And when you say that the governments didn't give us these rights, I absolutely agree. In fact, the way the founders put it is that we see these rights to be self-evident, meaning you're born with them. It's not a matter of someone giving them to you. You own them from the second you drop into this planet. So we see these rights to be self-evident. Nobody should have to explain this to anyone.
You can be raised by wolves and understand certain rights and wrongs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, seriously.
Well, no, wolves have a serious fucking, community in which there's whole,
Sure.
you better follow the, if you don't follow the rule with the wolves, you're going to get tore apart. So, yeah, wolves have rules. Go ahead.
I've called into your show before, as you know, this is Breaking the Flaw, okay? And I've said many times before that New Hampshire is the freest place on earth, and it is.
Oh, wow.
Especially for gun rights. Actually, I think they solidified it more this year. And I tested this last year. I went into polling stations. I've gone to city council meetings. I've gone as much as I could, except for the only thing that I wasn't able to go do, and one, federally, you can't go into post offices with guns, which is like a total retardation of the law.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is you can't bring your gun into courts. And that's a total retardation because the police or the people that try to prosecute you are allowed to open carry while they go in there.
Yeah.
And depending on what kind of case it is, though, that's another interesting thing.
Yeah.
However, my point is that so I went to the polling stations last year, and some of those polling stations were at schools, middle school and elementary and high school.
Yeah.
I went to three, I went to 6 locations, but 3 of them were schools, and they generally didn't have a problem. The last polling station I went to, which was Ward 2 in Manchester, New Hampshire, whatever. I went there, and one individual noticed that I was open carrying, and maybe she heard about me earlier in the day open carrying other polling stations, whatever. And she made a big fuss about it, and then when I followed her out while she's giving me a big fuss. And then I went to go walk back in, and then the police officer was like, "You can't bring a gun into the school." I was like, "Oh yeah, watch me." And I walked right in. I had no problem. The officer was calling into the station. He got confirmation that I did have. He got educated. He was seriously. He had the new baby smell on him.
Oh yeah.
As a cop.
Yeah.
And I put him in his place. He could not tell me what to do. And then that being said, the legislative session, I think beginning of the end of last year, they brought up legislation to try to ban firearms in the polling stations or in schools in general, and it failed. Oh man, it got railroaded. I tell you guys, New Hampshire is the place to be. Okay. And they're consistently fighting for our rights. Every anti-gun legislation in New Hampshire was shot down. Every free speech violation legislation that they tried to pass, shot down. They've cut the budget. They cut the budget of the police officers. They cut the budget of the courts, and just basically anything that is has made it easy for the state to come after people for, let's just put it this way, on this general topic, is victimless crimes, right? They cut. They tried to get more on criminal activity, but they couldn't do it.
But they haven't legalized cannabis, right?
That's another good point. Okay, so if you want me to break down that, it's a whole other topic. But so when it comes to that, this is a really weird situation. So a lot of and I don't want to lump it as Republicans, okay? Because
I don't think that makes a difference, dude.
It's not the same as other states when it comes to Republicans versus Democrats, okay? the Republican arm of the state is actually a majority of libertarian anarchists. Okay, and then you have Republicans, then you have Democrats. Okay, and so this libertarian anarchist community, they're very, very precise about how certain laws should be passed, and it's specific legislation. So the Democrats,
do they actually do they actually use the term anarchist when they talk about themselves? I mean, where's that label come from? Is it just something you're attaching to them? Yes, it is.
So, all right. So generally, a lot of these, I don't know if you heard of the Free State Project, okay? A lot of these people that moved to New Hampshire for more liberty, it's a movement going on, the Free State Project. You can go to freestateproject.org. I'm not trying to advertise per se. And they have gathered a lot of people in the liberty movement to move to one place. Over 20,000 people have signed up. I think it's actually around 30,000 now. And about 15,000 people have actually moved here. Over 1,000 people in the last year, which is huge because of the whole pandemic bullshit. And then you got, let me get back to the topic at hand, is that the weed thing. Okay, so there was 3 different legislations, and they're all kind of contradicting themselves one hand or another. I don't remember exactly specifically what the wording was for each one, but one was like, we want to make a constitutional amendment. Well, most legislators don't want to make it a constitutional amendment that you could consume cannabis whatever way you want, right? This is not like a constitutional matter per se. That would have been more of like, it's too specific to the cannabis thing. It should have been more like, you have the right to put anything in your body. That probably would have passed, right? So
well, then it would include all the other drugs, and maybe that's the problem. Right. Yeah.
No, it's not. That's not a problem at all. Like they talk about suicide too, which is very similar to this. So
yeah,
suicide would entail that you have the right to put anything in your body, like a bullet, right? Or if you want to, do so much drugs that you OD, that you have the right to do these things. Not that it's. I don't think it's morally correct, but it's like, on a legal parameter, you have the right to do these things, right?
Yeah, but who are you to push your fucking morals onto somebody else in the live free or die state, dude?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, if people want to commit suicide, get a freaking acid bath ready and jump in or something.
That's not nice. That's
or
not
jump
nice.
in a volcano.
Why are you trying to punish people like that? I mean, what's the deal? People, look, it's a difficult world. Okay, really hard, and you and I have it easy. Okay, I live on $600 a month, and I got it easy. Okay, so a lot of people live in hell already, so they're just trying to get, to get out of hell, man. So I don't judge people. I do my best not to judge people. Doesn't matter what they do. I'm not here to like approve or disapprove. It all comes back to this inalienable rights. You don't need my fucking approval, Hey,
to each his own, man. Like, as long as you're not harming somebody else, do what you want.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Live and let live, right?
It's your life, man. If you're not living your life, then what the fuck are you doing?
I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a hopefully question, but okay. But hey, I want to get back to the gun rights for just a moment. So, and this is important. 3D printing cannot be stopped.
Right, of course
the serial
not.
number thing is baloney, and the ghost gun thing, whatever. Actually, I actually wish that. I don't really like the whole idea of so-called gun trafficking and like people like, just making a bunch of guns and just distributing to random people. That I think is like, not a smart idea. That's like, you selling cars to drunk people all day. You know what I mean?
Well,
not a good idea.
Look, if you're trafficking in weapons and you don't have the proper credentials to do that, there should be rules against that. And I don't mean selling a gun here, selling a gun there. I'm talking about if you've got a trunk full of guns that you're fucking, selling to anybody in the neighborhood, that's a completely different thing.
Well, I think everyone should have a moral responsibility before you do any interaction with anyone to know who they are. So, like I said, you shouldn't be just,
if someone's known to be an alcoholic, okay, you don't sell them a car. Like, I'd be more hesitant to sell them a car, okay? Because you know that person's going to leave the lot, possibly go get a drink, and then,
What if they're a stoner?
I don't know of anything where a stoner has ever caused any harm to anyone after taking a puff. Like, I know, like, some people can smoke too much and not. Basically, they won't even be able to start their car.
Just won't be able to get off the couch, dude. But the point is that you're like picking and choosing what drugs people can use and all this stuff. I think that alcohol is a shitty drug. I think that if you don't teach your kids that,
it's the worst drug.
you'll know someone who dies from alcohol by the time you get out of high school. Teach your kids this. Teach your daughters from the time of 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol is the #1 date rape drug in the world. Every single day, 1 million women get raped because they had one drink too many. Okay? Teach your daughters that, or you're just leaving them wide open to fucking, I just can't believe, such a shitty drug. Such a shitty drug, and it's so accepted in our society.
So go figure that, okay, so they're trying to make a constitutional amendment for cannabis, right? They made a constitutional amendment federally about alcohol, that alcohol prohibition's done. It's ended.
Yeah.
Right? And ironically, New Hampshire is, when it comes to liquor, not beer and wine, when it comes to liquor, New Hampshire has a monopoly that it's state-run, that the state sells it on, and no one else can sell it. All the grandfathered stores have now dissolved because they couldn't keep up with the taxes on it, and it's a silly thing. So they were trying to make it a state-run thing about cannabis, and that didn't work because actually the libertarians and the anarchists and a lot of the Republicans don't want it to be state-run. So that's one of the reasons why the cannabis thing didn't get passed. Another reason was they didn't want to make it it's not really something that it would be in the Constitution, like someone can just consume cannabis, right? Like that's not really an appropriate, and those people who voted against that probably would have voted against the alcohol thing as well, with if it was brought up today, right? If it was a question of today, it probably wouldn't have happened. And probably alcohol would be illegal to still today in New Hampshire if that was the case. Just because it's not something that these legislators or representatives that want to pass. And then the third thing, I'm pretty sure that the third thing is that they were trying to raise the decriminalization of it. So New Hampshire has a decriminalization of an ounce or less, and it's just a ticketed fine.
That's really good. That's really good. I mean, it's not good. It's not good, but at least people aren't going to be, it's like a parking ticket or something, right?
Yeah, I think it's $100.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'll tell you firsthand. Okay, so I've been around my friend twice that he got arrested twice. Once in front of the governor's home, and he had a firearm on him at both occasions. And the other one was we both wrongfully got arrested. And I got the charges dropped, and I won a lawsuit. Okay, just put it that way. But so this was two different instances. But my friend was carrying a firearm, and not only that, he had a half-smoked blunt in a tube in his pocket with his firearm. Guess what they did when they released him? They gave him back not only his gun, but they gave back his half-smoked blunt at both locations.
Yeah. Well,
they didn't give a damn. They didn't charge him, fine him, or anything like that. So that was it.
I think cops only use this weed thing as some kind of a pressure deal. Don't make me, whatever. But I think that they know that they have just so much better things to do. So it's just, I smell a marijuana when they want to fuck with shit, Otherwise, we got better things to do. But that's really good to hear. And I know I walked out.
You bring up another good point, is that they did, I think they did pass this, is that if they smell weed in your car when they pull you over,
yeah,
they can't use that as probable cause.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really, really good. That's super important.
Yeah. Not many states have caught on to that.
Speaking of which, I need to have a big fat dab, so it's good to hear from you. And it's a great conversation. I look forward to continuing it soon, okay?
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Keep up the good work.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, stay cool. And the Live Free or Die state has always been, a place that seems as if they fight for the rights. I was giving him a hard time when I said that cannabis wasn't legal, because I know that they're working on it. It's all, everything's so legal, but what about weed? Because that's my go-to on freedom, Really, we have to just end the prohibition. We have to, like he was saying, the prohibition on alcohol is over. We have to end the prohibition. Just doesn't make sense. It's hurting. It's hurting our people. It's hurting the people of the United States. The people that are all strung out on these horrible, horrible drugs, including pharmaceuticals, they don't have the opportunity for help. Because it's illegal what they're doing, and if they get caught doing it, they could go to jail. If they get caught with some heroin in their pocket, they could really fuck up their lives even more than it's already fucked up. So they have to hide in the shadows. As where if they were buying their shit at the fucking store, the people at the store would be, hey, there's some pamphlets over here if you need something, if you're looking for some assistance. And then, they could direct them to, they wouldn't really need safe injection sites. It would be a completely different world. They wouldn't need to test the stuff. They wouldn't have to worry about walking home and the cops hassling them because they got a little bag of heroin in their pocket, It would be a completely different world. It would be so much freer. It would be the police able to focus on what the police should really be focusing on. Which, if you're trafficking drugs, and people can go to the store and get them, there's, okay, you're in trouble. But because that's the way things are. Okay, we have a way that we do stuff. If you're making your own, people don't know. The problem is, if you're making your own shit, if you're getting your own stuff from wherever, then the people that are buying it don't really know what they're getting until they put it in their arm, more or less. Unless you have some high-class fucking dealer, I don't know. But then you gotta have a lot of money. And you got to buy lots of drugs. But all I'm saying is, it would be so much safer for everyone. And it would free up so much freedom, and it would free up so much resources that are now being wasted. And it would actually help so many people who already have a problem with drugs, and the ones in the future that are going to have a problem with drugs. It would be so beneficial to them in so many different ways. So I hope that you understand. I have no interest in cocaine, meth, pills, heroin, mushrooms, LSD I have interest in. But those other things, okay, so I'm going to play another video because we don't have another caller, although we did have another caller when the last caller called, but he called first and I wanted to give him the chance to talk. So if that other caller would like to call back now, please feel free to do so, even though I'm going to play a video, and then we'll talk about what was on that video. How about that? I think we should really do another bong hit too. I'm just feeling like some kind of new world order shit is about to happen, and it'll be so much easier with a little bit more cannabis, you know what I'm saying?
Meanwhile, President Biden today arrived in Europe for tomorrow's special NATO summit in Brussels. Then he's going to Poland to discuss support for Ukraine and punishing Russia with more sanctions. Before he left, he alluded to a coming new world order. Great choice of words.
Now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. We've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it.
Now all the conspiracy theorists are going bonkers. But real talk, party people, can he actually lead the world? I wish he could. That would be great. I want faith in my president. But a new Fox News poll says 63% of voters say they think the U.S. should be doing more to help Ukrainians fight Russia. 85% think what's happening there makes a difference here at home. So will President Biden be able to get something done? Let's get into it with tonight's party panel. We've got townhall.com editor and Fox News contributor, the glorious Katie Pavlich. A halo of brilliance follows her everywhere. Not so much this one. This is the Aggressive Progressive podcast host. He's a farmer aide to Chuck Schumer. He's a special fella. Christopher Hahn is back. And the president of the Mises Institute, Jeff Deist, returns. Party people, thank you one and all. So, New World Order. Really dumb thing to say, Katie. He's been around long enough. He knows what it means. He knows how it has been used in the past, and he knows that people don't like the phrase.
People don't like the phrase, but the president, especially throughout this process, has not been too particular with his words at a time when he absolutely should be. But I don't think he's necessarily wrong about this idea that China and Russia are trying to work together and that China is now interested, and of course, not just now, but has been for a long time, in taking over the United States as a global power that is in control of resources, land, and people's economies, whether it's through force or through propaganda. But in terms of the president being at NATO and having these meetings, I loved the segment you just had before when the question came up of what is the end game? They've done a great job of arming the Ukrainians to hold off the Russians and to even beat them back. But why is it taking so long? And at the same time that the Biden administration is claiming that sanctions are working, that they're putting more on, they're also claiming that Vladimir Putin is interested in a chemical attack or even using nuclear weapon, which proves that the sanctions aren't working. And let's not forget that they claim these sanctions in the first place were put on to deter, like the threat of sanctions to deter Russia from ever invading. They went in anyway, and they're not getting out. They're just getting more aggressive. So the question is, do they want this to end quickly, or are they just going to manage this situation where the Ukrainians fight the Russians as long as they possibly can without actually kicking them out?
That's a really good point, Katie, because a lot of people have been talking about, Chris, in the next few days, anywhere from 3 to 14 days, the Russian military is going to run out of food. We're hearing that their soldiers are suffering from frostbite, all these things. It's like one suburb of Kyiv was taken over. Mariupol is being bombed into oblivion. So if it does reach a stalemate, to Katie's point, that could go on for years and years and years. And I have a feeling there are a lot of Democrats in Washington who are just fine with that. And they're okay with opening up this never-ending front.
I don't know anybody who would be fine with that. It would be nothing but death and despair for the Ukrainians. The Russians would be living with draconian sanctions that might damage the rest of the world's economy in the long term. I think we want to see this end. I think President Biden has done a very good job at keeping NATO united and bringing in other partners to oppose the Russians economically. I don't see any scenario where the United States gets involved more militarily with a no-fly zone or a peacekeeping mission. But something's got to give at the end of the day. And I agree. It's hard to tell what the end game is right now because we are living in a scenario that we never thought we would come to, at least at this point. So
you also have people in charge who are not tremendous strategists, who are not painting a realistic picture and who don't inspire a lot of confidence. You know, the things they're talking about
with all due respect.
No, I'm not done talking. The way they are beating the war drums and getting people all worked up talking about chemical weapons, like, yeah, I think they could use them. Those are people who are very eager to go to war. Those are people who are eager to send young American boys over to Eastern Europe, their lives be damned.
The Biden administration has been releasing intelligence throughout this conflict, and they have been spot on. So let me explain. I think that they are trying to warn Russia and warn their partners like China that this is a possibility, and they should be prepared to deal with the consequences of that, which could be steeper economic consequences for Russia and God knows who else.
They don't care. Jeff?
They don't care.
Well, look, we're not at war. Russia and Ukraine are at war. And frankly, Biden and Jen Psaki, his press person, they've been less hawkish and less belligerent than a lot of the voices around them, saying that we're not going to have U.S. soldiers in Ukraine. We're not going to have a no-fly zone. We're not going to have a nuclear exchange, for God's sake, with Russia. So when he says New World Order, I don't think that's a slip. I don't think it's new. I mean, the United States has been running the show basically since the end of World War II, certainly since the end of the Cold War. And NATO should have been dissolved then, but it wasn't. Now it's never going to be dissolved. He's going to go over there, and it's going to become the new super state structure. And I hate to say it, but this is not going to be about the North Atlantic and Eastern Europe anymore. This is going to be about Russia, China, maybe even India. And this is our new forever entangling alliance. And I do think a lot of people in America are okay with slow burn halfway wars that go on forever. So let's just hope we keep out of this one.
Yeah, I don't want U.S. troops to get involved. I don't want them in NATO states, and that's what they're talking about right now. Is 140,000 strong troops sprinkled throughout places like Estonia and Romania, and 100,000 of them would be U.S. troops. So when that happens, how are we not in the middle of a war? I don't understand. No one has explained it to me. And I think you're absolutely right. When he utters the phrase New World Order, it's not a slip up. He doesn't have the ability to edit himself anymore. And that's pretty terrifying for someone who's 941 years old and getting ready to seek a second term. All right, the party panel sticking around. Coming.
So you know what I love about that? She was like, I mean, she's all over it. She's like, I don't want to send our sons and daughters off to die in a war. I love that. But she's like talking, right? And this guy tries to interrupt her, and she says, I'm not finished. I love that. It's like, don't make me come over there and bash your fucking teeth in. I'm not finished. I love it. I can help you finish, baby. Oh, come on. Hello, caller.
What's up, brother?
I am doing this thing that I do. What is up with you?
Shoot, watching you. I've been catching you. I just called. I forget how long ago it was again, and that was me calling.
Yeah.
So yeah, this video. Let's just get right to it, right? So
Yeah.
This video. To all your listeners out there, when you watch the media, you just have to tell yourself, "I'm watching a commercial right now." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What they're trying to do is basically get everybody behind supporting the Nazis in Ukraine. It's a proxy war against Russia so that we can pump more money into the military-industrial complex.
I agree completely.
Like you said the other day, how I was saying most media outlets don't tell you this, but the United States is doing exactly worse what Russia's doing in Ukraine. Like, look at Palestine right now. Israel, to jump around a little bit, a lot of people don't realize that Israel wasn't a country before World War II. It was called Palestine. So what happened is, basically, the Jewish people got Israel as reparations, and the military of the British and the United States forced the Palestinians to make room and allow a whole new country to be built on their land. And to this day, it's an apartheid state. They're getting killed. And when the people take up arms to defend themselves, if they're brown, they're terrorists. You know, we've been trained to think this. That's why we don't look at people in the Middle East as humans, because, you know, we've been taught to hate them.
Yeah, well, they live in, caves and mud huts. How can you respect that?
Right?
Yeah.
Which, fun fact, so Iraq and Iran, I don't like saying names like that, they used to be like international fucking destinations like Paris and shit. But what happened is they found oil, and the leaders wanted to keep the wealth for the people and nationalize it, and then the military just bombed all those countries, literally bombed all the cities and turned them into third world countries. Like, look at Libya. When Gaddafi was running Libya, they had universal health care, education.
Yeah.
He would send you overseas to become a doctor. I'm not saying he's perfect, but, the system was, all the money was going from the oil fields to the people. You know what I'm saying? And
He was he lived he lived in a tent because he refused to live indoors until all of his people had homes to live in.
That's nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of propaganda we're fed, and it's so hard to wade through all the mud, but it's easy when you question everything. Like the guy, the previous caller said, the liberty and free state, what he really, either subconsciously, I'm not trying to speak for him, but just from my experience, the more patriotic you are, in reality, you're just really nationalist, You don't really care about the people. You just want your way, America your way. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really how it is. Because this government doesn't represent the people. It just doesn't represent the people. No government, really.
Yeah, I don't see it as... I keep talking about the people of these United States as being good people. There's nothing wrong with our country. It's the government. And if you see the government as representing you, as you were just saying, this government doesn't represent the people, but if you see it in that way, then you should understand that this government's completely evil, and it's doing evil in your name. So if that's who you are, if that's how you want to identify, at least you should know what the hell is happening.
Exactly. And, a big thing I wanted to talk about when I wanted to call earlier was the Constitution. I talked about money the last show about how everything ran on money. I want to talk about the Constitution. So people covet it and look up to it, and they just don't really understand that the Constitution was written, when it says all men, it meant all white men who own land are created equal. It didn't mean poor people. It didn't mean black people. I'm a black man.
Yeah.
It didn't mean, there's a lot of good in the Constitution, but it also calls my people 3/5 of a person. So we have to understand that the Constitution has got to be rewritten by the people. There's no other way about it. We need to rewrite the Constitution.
I think I hear everything you're saying about that, and when I talk about the Constitution and the Founding Fathers, I understand that they were slave owners and that they didn't see people in the way that we like to believe. So that being said, the document, the sentiment behind the document as we understand it today, I just wish that our government could hold it in a higher, these basic truths, freedom of speech, freedom protection, freedom of religion. I don't think that they, freedom against, unreasonable search and seizure. I don't see this government. And I think that those are real basic guidelines, not guidelines. This is what should be the basic starting point. So if you take out all the other wording about about the bullshit, and just go freedom of speech, protection, religion, against, if you do it like that, then the document makes a lot of sense. But I understand exactly what it is, the point that you're making. So.
Yeah, to be specific and a little more articulation is, when I say rewritten, I mean it needs to get rid of the Supreme Court, get rid of the Senate, get rid of senators, and replace everything with the power of the popular vote, and using the most available technology to issue that, using blockchain. So if we all have basically, instead of this country being a republic, we actually make it a real democracy. So basically we can have people in some offices, whatever, but all they're doing is just caretakers of what the people are voting. So maybe the people, there's a specific forum we can go to introduce a bill and then try to rally behind it, get it onto the voting chain, and then everyone votes on it, And that's how every fucking law should be introduced, is where we either vote to where it's like a 2/3 majority or a 50-50 majority.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All of that just needs to be up for vote. But the problem is, there's got to be a massive re-education of the indoctrination that we have gone through in the school system and the media. There's going to be a transitional period, but eventually, when people a lot of people criticize Black Lives Matter for not having like good goals and stuff, and you got to understand those were all like baby, like they are just really being introduced to how fucked up the system is. A lot of the people out there didn't really believe how fucked up these cops were, and so what happened is the protests aren't going on right now, but the revolution is still going on because people realize the protesting doesn't work. This government is evil, and so now there's a growing generation that sees this government as illegitimate. And as soon as we realize it's the money that supports everything, like it's over. And around the next election, like everything's going to change. All these people talking about trying to buy houses and careers and all this, you're focusing on the absolute wrong thing. You're wasting your life energy on capitalists.
I think that people are focused on the material world are a big part of the problem, and they don't mean to be, and they don't realize that they are. But they're a giant part of the problem. Like you're saying, the re-education. You have to understand the value of what it is that we're destroying here. You have to understand that poisoning every single drop of drinking water is a really bad idea.
I think it was your video I just watched on that. But yeah, like 8 years this town's been under a boil advisory. That is completely unacceptable. And people want to think this is anywhere near a first world country. Get out of here.
Yeah.
That's free. There's nothing free about this country other than consumerism. You know, you're free to buy stuff if you have money. Other than that, you're fucked.
Yeah. You're under the thumb of the comply, or I should say boot of the comply or die police state. And and if you see it any other way, I think you're really delusional, because we're all this far from having our fucking heads chopped off by this evil government. Again, they do not give a fuck about you. You're actually a problem for them, and they just as soon see your head chopped off, ship your kids off to war to die. You know, they're much better without you and your children in their lives, except for you're too stupid to call them out on it. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So about the gun rights thing you were talking about, people have to understand that, first of all, the first gun rights ever introduced were against the Black Panthers because white folks didn't like seeing black folks arming themselves and protecting themselves. And you have to understand, the original lynchman in the United States was the police. Like, most of the lynchings carried out, 1868 to 1960, whatever, was by the police. They were the lynchmen.
I would say that that's still true today, so you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, exactly right.
Yeah.
So, you notice how they said exemption for the police? So basically, one, you have to understand, for fuck's sake, guys, listen, Democrats and Republicans are the same party. They work for the banks and the corporations, period. They do theater to make you think it's different, to get you divided up. But if you look at the policy, they're all the same. They're both bombing Somalia and Yemen, causing a famine. They're both letting us get evicted if we don't have money. The school system, the education, it's all trash under both parties, you know? So you got to understand. So when the government wants to take your gun rights away, look at Great Britain. You can't have guns out there, right?
Yeah.
They also have hella no privacy laws. Like, the government has so much fucking control that people have like no capability to rise up against the government because they're totally disarmed. And you have to understand, like in the Philippines, what is the first thing the dictator did? He fucking disarmed the population. He made it the penalty of death to have a firearm and took the guns away from all the people. So you got to understand, it's a slow process that they're trying to disarm the population so that we could never fight against corporations who are exempt because they have money. Guys don't understand this. So we got to get past this racism, gay, not gay, religious stuff, and stop talking shit on Black Lives Matter or the truckers, and realize that we're all fucking slaves to the bank at the top.
I couldn't put it better myself, man. I'm telling you, the people who want to choose sides between, you know, the truckers and Black Lives Matter, you look, these people are all out there in the street fighting for our rights, not their rights, our rights. And if you can't see that, then there's something wrong with you. You have some serious biases that are just idiotic. I mean, they're a problem. They're a dark spot on your soul. So you should think about it a whole lot.
Very dark. And we're getting there, though, and people understand there's not going to be, how could there possibly be another Republican or Democrat that gets elected? Like the system is broken, people. It is broken. And I'm glad Trump fucking did what he did. Because, yeah, I was Trump over Hillary, but, and after that, I was done. I was neither Trump nor Biden. But the system's broken. You guys got to stop thinking America is going to remain a country as it is. You guys understand, there's a lot of people out there who want a world with no fucking borders, and this new world order, you got to understand, the conspiracy, the fact of the matter is, well, you guys, it's my fact, it's just the banking cartel that gets to print money and lobby the government with all that money they print. That's what controls everything. That's what the Illuminati and all that shit is. It's these old-ass white people that sit on the boards of J.P. Morgan, of the Federal Reserve, of Chase, of Blackstone. You guys they own most of they own the controlling interest in Amazon, fucking Google, most of these fucking all Blackstone. You guys understand?
Hey,
Elon Musk.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, my last point is, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, and they aren't anywhere near the richest people on this planet. The rich people are who those guys keep their money in their bank or their investment fund. Because Blackstone is in charge of trillions. We're talking $20+ trillion is how much Blackstone is in control of. They own all the media. You guys understand?
Yeah.
And every day that you guys go to work and circulate the U.S. dollar, that's what upholds the system, is us, upholding the money that they get to print from nowhere. The second we the whole working class, if we just switch to cryptocurrency, a new one, not Bitcoin, but a new one, the entire government would collapse overnight because they couldn't just scam us, which is what the government is, a scam.
So let me ask you something real quick. So when you say that the people that are in charge or get all the profits are these old ass white people, don't you think it's kind of divisive to turn them into white people as opposed to just evil? Because when you say white people, I think a lot of people are gonna become defensive, and I think that's the last thing that you want. I think it's the last thing that you want. You want people to all see that these are evil doers, and that it doesn't matter what color their skin is. And I see it's like you kind of want to make it say it matters what color their skin is, and it shouldn't.
Not at all. And I think once you hear me out, you'll actually think, okay, yeah, I do agree. The way I say it, it's a little, because how long have I lived under this system? But let me articulate why I specifically say, and I agree with you, the labels are stupid. But this one, because you got to understand, where does capitalism come from, people? It comes from slavery. The system of slavery is what created capitalism. And who in the United States owned all the slaves, right? Okay, so that's why. So the white people owned all the slaves. So now, once slavery, quote, ended, because it never did, you got to think all of that capital stayed with a certain class of people. So now, when I say old white people, people have to understand, rich white people look at poor white people no different than black people. There is a big difference.
Okay. Go ahead. There's a big difference between poor white people and poor black people. Is that right?
No, there's a difference between poor white people and poor rich people, because basically all poor people are basically the same, but they just give they give white folks a little bit more so that they don't unite with us. That's why they call it divide.
Yeah.
So poor, if you're a working class white person, I really don't have a problem with you, even if you're a Republican and all that. and a Trumpy because I know if I sat down and really talked to you and you in good faith listened and responded, I could break you through all the indoctrination because guess what? I was the most right-wing, bootlicking, cop-supporting, military trying to join, all of that. So I know exactly where everyone's coming from and the steps you need to get out of that indoctrination and realize that the USA, we are the baddies. In Star Wars, we're the Empire.
We're the evil, yeah. So again, though, when you say that you wanna, the poor white people are, when you want to include them and you want to explain things to them, and you want them to understand that the way that the rich people think of them as the same as poor black people, is that
I should definitely do better.
Is that well, when you say old ass white people, then it kind of makes people that are white defensive, And I just think that the people that you're saying that you'd really like to include are at that point you have less people that are going to be included, even though they might not be evil doers. They get their defenses up, and so.
I love Bernie.
Yeah. That's like me saying I love Sammy Davis Jr., dude.
But no, I should definitely do better and say the people who sit on the boards of those banks who just happen to be mostly part of the class that's descended from American slavery, and they use the poor people to fight in the Civil War, and the rich people didn't fight in that Civil War. It was the farmers and everyone,
Yeah.
And
I hear you. The rich people don't fight in wars. They don't do that.
No, hell no. Democrats or Republicans.
Yeah.
And so I should definitely do better. I don't, because it's funny because you're an old white guy, I get it. But
no, I'm not telling you need to do better. I'm just telling you should consider that it makes people defensive. And that, I think that, and when you're wanting to include as many people as you can, that you don't want them to be defensive right from the start.
Clearly doesn't know who held the notes on slavery. Yeah, people misunderstand slavery because if you're going based, and what you said, I totally agree. And I listened and reflected and I adapted very quick. But slavery, the Civil War wasn't fought to end slavery because people were sad about what was happening. It was all economic.
It was about seceding from the nation. The South wanted to secede because the North wanted to end slavery or something to that effect. So they were going, we don't want to be part of your bullshit anymore. And the government went, you can't do that. And they started this big giant war.
Yeah, but the reason behind ending slavery was the economics, not because of the social reason. It was purely that the South was monopolizing labor. There was no middle class. There was no real jobs for people because you were either really rich or really poor. There was no work your way up. It was, But freaking people. We're getting there. There's not going to be. I think I'm willing to bet not going to be another election like this attack on gun rights, like the media lying to us left and right, getting called out. And news guys like you were propping up, and man, a lot of them just repeat a lot of what the mainstream media says. Because I'm actually anti-vaccine and mandate and all that. Like, it's stupid. The government they don't represent us.
Yeah.
I was a scandal. Yeah, because you remember the hospital they built out there? Man, not a single person went to that thing. That little freaking military hospital they built up. Just freaking. It's and I've been to 30 states since then across the country 3 times, and there's no freaking pandemic going on. It's just the media getting everybody to not talk about Epstein and how much money that they've been printing. They've been talking about the Great Reset for at the Bilderberg meetings. A lot of this stuff economically is planned because at the end of the day, they're printing up trillions of dollars. I watched this video, this guy, and I was looking into it. So the last bailout when Obama, and I don't like Obama, I don't like any president to be specific.
Yeah, that's where we're at these days.
Yeah, they printed up they told us they only printed up like $5 trillion, but
Yeah.
just recently they FOIA'd some papers, and they printed like 30 trillion fucking dollars during the '08 bailout.
Yeah.
All of that money went to Raytheon, Boeing, Northrop
Yeah.
Grumman, TNT, Exxon Mobil. Like, none of that went to the people.
Just
You know?
such bullshit. Same thing
And
with
look how
the
much money they printed now.
yeah.
Where's
Same
that?
thing with the COVID stimulus. You know, it's just fucking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The quantitative easing. It's exactly what's going on. It's a great wealth transfer. But if we, the working class, just simply stop using the dollar, all of the power that rich people have vanishes. They don't have anything now.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But if the people lost faith in the dollar, the government would really be fucked.
You know what the number one enemy, and I'll leave this here, you know what the number one enemy of the dollar is, of the faith of the people? Inflation. Oh,
Yeah.
no suspense.
Yeah.
Inflation. And people, once they realize that inflation isn't from greedy corporations or none of that, it's simply from money being printed up endlessly, then they realize, boom, it's done. And it's going to happen like overnight. That's why people don't realize. Because look at the Berlin Wall. That shit, it just, one night it was there and the other night the government was gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like the last government, the Soviet Union. Not even the wall, but the Soviet Union fell overnight. And who could predict that, right? So people think it won't happen. It's going to happen like in a just all of a sudden. And once we're all free from that seeping feeling that depresses us all, you're talking about drugs, right? Most drugs and depression is related to the fact that we're poor.
Yeah.
We'll never be able to. We see all these rich people live all this lives with these models, and we're just stuck in poverty. It's because all those people are connected to the top in that class that you're born into. There's 2% social mobility in America for black people. You don't work hard and succeed in America. You work hard and make someone else who owns that company, that their dad left their house to them and they sold it for $500,000 and started the company, and that's where most of the wealth comes from. You know, that's it right there, people.
Well, let me just say, Bernie's a horrible piece of shit. And
What Bernie do now?
Bernie sold us all out, dude, in
Yeah, he did.
the 2016 election. I'm pretty sure he won that election, or could have won that election, and just refused to go there. But you know, so you know, Bernie's a piece of shit. And and I
And
like
AOC now.
I like
You know,
Chappelle.
and Will Connor.
I like
Like,
Chappelle.
they're all-
So you know, I like
Okay.
Chappelle. You said I like. You said I like Bernie. I said I like Chappelle. So you know.
Who's that?
Dave Chappelle.
Oh yeah, that's my dude right there.
He's the man.
He's keeping it real. And Russell Brand is his new thing is giving you straight shit and Jimmy Dore. Everyone else are just repeating this stupid vote Democrat garbage. Nope. New party, People's Party. And with that comes a new currency and the redistributed wealth, meaning all of the capital gets owned to the people. You know, like think of Apple, all the employees, if they all owned the company and they all got to vote and shit, you know, it's not like wouldn't have people working, you know, stop me if I'm rambling, but everyone's doing, everyone, like I said last time, everyone working at these horrible, shitty jobs at McDonald's and construction, these are all doctors, engineers, scientists, inventors that are just trying to fucking survive, man, in a country. If we're so free, then how come the government will throw your family out on the street and take your kids away and then pay another family and raise them? How free are we of that?
Because the government's evil. You know, that's why. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
The root of that's the moving people. All right, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to hear from you. I always enjoy talking to you. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Absolutely. Somebody call. Don't be, don't be scared. This
All
guy's
right.
good talk.
Yeah.
See you later, bro.
Okay, you too. And I do like Chappelle. He's one of the good ones. I like Bernie. Break. He's using Bernie as an example of an old-ass white guy. In case any of you missed that. Old-ass white people. Let's see, where were we? And Bernie's absolutely that. I have one video left. And as he was saying, don't be afraid to call. We can talk about anything. I mostly want to make clear that, that these governments are evil. And if we don't recognize them as being that, if we don't start with our own government and recognize how horrible they are for not only the people of this country, but all the people around the world. All the people around the world. This government is doing evil, evil, evil against all the people around the world. And they're doing it in your name. And apparently with your permission. So at least I'm sure that's the way a lot of people around the world would perceive it. I'm going to play the video that I have left. It is about, actually I have a few videos, but this is about abortion, new abortion, oh, what now? Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Oh, wait. Hello, caller.
Hey, Max.
What's up, G?
Hey. Well, saying hi from Yakima. How's it going?
Oh, I'm just doing this thing. It's a beautiful day.
I don't think George Bush is a war criminal. I think Dick Cheney is the war criminal.
Uh-huh. And you want to explain that?
Remember,
Go ahead.
Who was controlling the deep state back then? Who was the former Halliburton and the former and giving oil wells to their bodies? It was Dick Cheney.
Right. Well, I have
Who was building houses in Iraq?
Yeah.
It was Dick Cheney.
Yeah. Well, I have no problem agreeing that Dick Cheney is a horrible war criminal. My point with Bush and Obama is that the buck has to stop somewhere, and the person in charge should be who the buck stops with always. And these people act like, well, I don't have any control over torture. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Max. I think who really was running the show behind back in the Bush presidency was Dick Cheney. When you actually look carefully and actually analyze the Bush administration, how it was set up, a lot of the times the intelligence memos and all the news went to Cheney first, and then it went to George Bush. So I think George Bush, and quite frankly, this is my own personal conclusion, he was just a puppet. He was the facade, the frontman.
Right. I get what you're saying. I completely understand, Manny. You understand. I want Dick Cheney, I want Liz Cheney to go to prison. I want all of their children's assets seized, including their homes, their vehicles. I want their clothing taken away from them, Manny. His children. Do you know why? And his children, because they all made this money. Everything they have, it was made on the blood of innocent people. And that, I mean, I want them, I want Dick Cheney in jail, I want Liz Cheney in jail, and again, I want all their assets, all their children. I want their children and their children's children to live destitute and in shame. That's what those people deserve.
Well, Max, I don't know about going after the children, but I can definitely agree on going directly to Dick Cheney. But again, at this point, my cynical me tells me that all the money they make is already on trust funds and shell companies protected from things like you were saying now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mark. I don't think it's George Bush, it's Dick Cheney.
Right, but George Bush has to be held accountable. Dick Cheney has to be held accountable. Barack Obama has to be held accountable. Otherwise, you know, these are horrible, horrible war crimes committed while they were the leaders, the figureheads of our country. Even if they weren't the ones that were actually leading, they were the figureheads. We need to make clear to the people that are coming next. We will be more than happy to send you to prison for the rest of your life if you act like these assholes. Because right now, the way it looks to anyone who is considering becoming president is that they can get away with any fucking thing they want. And it shouldn't be that way, Manny.
I mean, yeah, they can tell me what. Anyways, just want to say hi from Yakima. Yeah.
Hey, it's always good to hear from you, Manny.
All right, man, take it easy.
Okay, talk to you later.
Bye.
That's our buddy Manny from the east side, although he's on the east side of Washington, or eastern Washington they call it, but usually he's just on the east side of Seattle. Where were we? Right, again, you can't give people like George Bush a pass because it appears that Dick Cheney was in charge. Okay, they both need to go to prison, just like Obama and Biden need to go to prison, because they murdered innocent people in your name. And the real problem is that they knew the war in Iraq was based on lies. Okay, they knew that 100%. Anyone who doesn't know that, I don't understand. You don't want to know it. That's the only way you cannot know that the Iraq War was based on lies. So the Iraq War was based on lies. Obama knew that. Obama could have ended it all, but he kept it going, till the end of his presidency. Just kept murdering innocent people in your name with your tax dollars when we all knew that it was a lie. When that was the big question leading up to the presidency, will you seek charges against George W. Bush for lying us into war in Iraq? And he would say, oh, we have to look forward, not backward. Remember that? We got to look forward, not backward. Those people are never going to be held accountable. The reason that we're all looking at Putin right now is because we have to look forward, not backward. No, we have to take care of our own goddamn business. If we don't take care of our own goddamn business, who's supposed to? Because eventually someone's going to, and I would really prefer that it was us. I would really prefer that the people of the world could see us smashing our government into little tiny bits, putting our disgusting, evil politicians on trial for crimes against humanity and war crimes, and treason for that matter. Because they're the real threat to all of us. Our government is the real threat to each and every one of us. Okay, nuclear weapons, cyber attack. It's all our government. Any threat. If a nuclear weapon goes off in our country, do you actually for 1 second believe that it came from Putin? How does that help Putin, right? It's going to come from inside our own goddamn government. Just like a giant cyber attack. If there is a giant, we talked about this yesterday, if the NSA and the CIA and most likely numerous other three-letter government organizations are on your computer and every other computer in this country and pretty much around the world. So if a cyber attack happens, the chances are about 99% that it came from inside our own government. And this is the evil that must be held accountable for. Because they're not just spreading evil around the world. They're not just making the good people of this country look like we support doing evil around the world. They're not just doing that. They're ruining people. They're ruining generations to come future. They're destroying the planet. They're holding back the next evolution of mankind. I don't know how much more evil it can possibly be. They're doing this on purpose. They're making it so that we cannot have a strong, vibrant economy. They're doing it on purpose. They're holding down the entire working class on purpose. They want the middle class to be completely dissolved, because then it will be much more difficult the way they have us all divided. Which maybe if we eliminate the middle class, we won't be so divided anymore. That being said, I'm going to play a video. I just keep talking about the same shit. Alright, this is my last video. I'll be right back. It's about new abortion law in Oklahoma. And one of the reasons I want to play this is during the video you'll see this one person, a female, talk about how this is protecting lives. This is protecting lives. No, it's not. This is about government overreach, government coming into your bedroom, into your room, into your body, and telling you what you can or can't do. This is who the government is. This is exactly the government that we must get rid of. All right? And they're not any closer. We're not any closer. It's just getting worse and worse, no matter how it appears.
The Oklahoma House just voted to pass a near total ban on abortion. The new legislation, which mirrors Texas's bill, could ban abortion from the moment of conception. Peyton May with our sister station has a look at one of the strictest abortion bills in the country.
This bill, drafted by the former Solicitor General of Texas, is dividing Oklahoma representatives.
You have someone outside the state of Oklahoma writing legislation to impact the health care of our constituents.
This bill is about life. I think everyone in this chamber values life.
The debate on the House floor reaching a major point of contention when Representative Sean Roberts made a comment about the Democratic Party.
The Party of Death filed 13 amendments under this bill that will save lives. They have no intention.
Please suspend.
What has been told to us by our leaders in the chamber about decorum and respect has flown out the window.
The passionate commentary boils down to this. The bill would prohibit a provider from performing an abortion unless the life of the mother is physically at risk. Those at a clinic and even family members or friends helping a woman get an abortion could be sued. While it's an almost total ban on abortions, there are certain circumstances where it could be allowed.
There's an exception for abortions in the case of rape, sexual assault, and incest.
After the bill passed overwhelmingly by a vote of 78-19, organizations on both sides of the issue are speaking out. Those at Trust Women are weighing their options.
We're considering what types of care we can continue to provide, and if it is possible for us to, assist people getting care in other states, that is certainly something we will do.
On the other hand, Oklahoma faith leaders think this won't be a problem. After the ban in Texas, I know that there was a surge of people kind of coming from Texas here seeking abortions. Are you in any way concerned that this is not an abortion ban, but more of an outsourcing to other states?
No, what we hope is going to happen is that this will give the precious ladies that have to make this decision, we hope that it'll give them some time to think about it and change their mind.
The bill now moves on to the Oklahoma Senate. Reporting in Oklahoma City, I'm Peyton May.
Next, they're going to say you can't use birth control because it prevents life. Where were we? Let's see. We were talking about, you know, I've talked enough. I'm giving you a chance to call if you'd like to. It's fine. If you don't want to, it's fine. I'm getting hungry anyways. I was going to have another bong hit, but I want to get something to eat before I have another bong hit. You know what I mean? So, I really do enjoy doing it. I don't know, in that last video there was something I saw. That girl from the Trust Women organization that was speaking, her name was, who was adorable. Her name was Miffy. It looked like, I think it was spelled M-Y-F-I. I think that's how it's pronounced. Miffy? Mi-Fi? Wi-Fi? Miffy, I think it was Miffy. So cute, right? I don't think I've ever seen that name before. But I do digress. My name is Mike, and we do this Mondays. No, not Mondays. No, not Mondays. No. We do this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then if anything like big happens, you can rely on the fact that I will go live more or less immediately once some kind of event takes place that is incredibly important to all of us. So you can count on that if it happens. Otherwise, we do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back tomorrow, same Mark's time, same Mark's channel. And until then, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is going to end. Stay cool till then. My friends, stay cool till then.
Screw your freedom. 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 Screw your freedom.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
I'm going to show you my invisible mask.
Very serious.
This is my invisible mask for Stacey Abrams. Ready? I'm going to put it on. It's on. It's great. All right, Carol.
gosh.
Last word here. Okay, I'm going to show you my invisible mask.
Very serious.
This is my invisible mask for Stacey Abrams. Ready? I'm going to put it on. It's on. It's great. All right, Carol.
gosh.
Last word, dear.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of